Welcome to the June edition of BBRO BeetCast. I'm Francesca Broom, your host and Knowledge Exchange Manager for BBRO. This month we're out in field on the hunt for pesky pests with Alistair Wright, and then a brief catch up with Stephen Swainston, BBRO Managing Director, as we inoculate our Goliath virus trial.
Here we are mid-June and we are hopefully looking at quite a good crop. It's now started to build up. The recent rains have done the job and it's motoring away. But we have had a number of calls to the plant clinic with a few pest issues. I'm here with Dr. Alistair Wright, who's the Head of Crop Protection for BBRO.
Afternoon, Chairs, yeah. As you've said, the crop is growing nicely and away from sort of that stunted growth when it didn't have much moisture, but as a result is now an attractive proposition for several pests. I suppose our greatest concern of the season so far has been aphids, and the migration is continuing. We're hoping it sort of peaked at the end of the first week of June. We were catching many hundreds, if not thousands of aphids in some of the pans, and it's a huge amount of work going in there in the lab to deal with them all and ID them all down to the species level, but it's really useful data to guide sort of when the crop's still at risk. The split emergence we've seen has led to queries about when to spray and what to spray and how to spray the crop when we're thinking about aphicides. My sort of advice for the year has been sort of take it on a field by field basis, look at how well the crop is establishing and growing away. But where you are actively seeing crops meeting the threshold, then of course be prepared to spray. And that is why we secured the EA for the second application of Insist to give us a 4-spray option. I think the weather has helped us no end and has halted some of the aphid flight activity earlier in the season, so sort of acting as a natural aphicide. But where they're needed, and if the crop is the majority of it is behind, then that is the crop that should be treated. Consider the spray threshold 1 aphid per 4 plants or 5 aphids per 20 plants. Do those counts and spray accordingly.
And across most of the region, we're seeing mainly 2 sprays, aren't we?
Yeah, I think that is the case, and I'm really pleased because we don't want to be spraying huge amounts of insecticide where we don't have to, and where nature can help us, that is of course fantastic. The crop here at Morley, we can see several ladybirds out and about, and they're patrolling the more mature plants as well as the smaller ones, so hopefully they're helping across the board. But those later plants, remember the spray threshold shifts to 1 aphid per plant between 12 and 16 true leaves. So it's important not to stop monitoring for aphids too soon. And again, as I said, go round on a field by field basis and make those decisions.
And as you said, the aphids have obviously been our main concern for the last 8 weeks. But just because we stop or reduce the messaging on spraying, actually we are as yet to see the impact of that aphid migration, aren't we?
That is the problem with virus yellows. It's a secondary issue. So whilst at the moment we're stopping the vectors, which are bringing that virus into the crop, it's too soon to see the effect of the aphids. That being said, we are starting to see early reports of yellowing beet coming into BBRO. Some of those will be from virus, probably beet yellows. The more aggressive virus normally shows sooner. So if you're out and about crop walking, that could be now visible. But over the next few weeks to months, that's when the symptoms will start developing of the different viruses.
And I think the thing is, the growers shouldn't panic if they found small patches, because that's really what we're expecting to see in a crop that has been compromised, isn't it?
Oh, correct. Even with the neonic seed treatments back in the day with Cruiser, you would have had primary plants still acquiring virus. The most important thing is the use of the aphicides limits that secondary spread, and that's really important to protect the yield. Other things you might see going yellow are capsid damage, and that is caused when they puncture into the back of the leaf, and you'll often see a little pinprick hole. Above that, the leaf tends to go yellow and sort of a bit distorted. Again, it's not something really to worry about. The plant will grow out of that as it continues to develop, but we are seeing some of that out and about there. So
and the break there, that's usually on the main vein,
on the
isn't it?
primary vein. So the top will go yellow, the bottom half of the leaf still stays nice and green, and still, of course, produces some sugar. So that's the main thing.
So we're now seeing signs of the capsid damage, but there have been a few other things that have been appearing in crop, and even things have been and gone. So what else have you had?
Yes, so we've seen some leaf miner damage. You can see those characteristic white cigar-like eggs on the back of the leaves, and then they hatch out into the maggots that then mine into the leaves, and you'll see the mines. But that has been fairly inconsequential. Probably looked a lot worse when the crop wasn't growing very much, when it was very dry. But now clearly there's massive proliferation of leaves. But it is something to be aware of, and potentially a second generation will come in, but our control options are quite limited for leaf miner. So hopefully that's a problem we don't see until next year. And we have seen some flea beetle damage as well. That again was earlier on in May. Most growers either seem to have leaf miner or flea beetle. Again, the crop has grown away from it. So it's growing really well now. Lots of crops nearly touching in the row, and that is, well, it's next week's the Norfolk show, so we're a week ahead of schedule, which is really good. And on these bright, sunny, warm days that we're now in, really we'll see lots more growth, and that'll be fantastic for yield accumulation.
Now, I know what you mean by we're a week early, but I don't suppose that the growers up north will actually understand the saying. So what is it we tend to repeat?
And they should meet in the row by the Suffolk show, so the end of May, and meet across the road by the Norfolk show.
Yeah, and they didn't quite meet by the Suffolk show, but we're getting there, certainly.
Racing on. So in the Crop Watch Network, it's fascinating to see all the reports coming in of just how rapidly the crop's growing. So yeah, really good news for yields.
Yeah, good news for us all. And also, we've got a lot more beneficials coming into the crop.
Yes, plenty of beneficials, and that is the good thing about limiting the amount of aphicides we're using. Will allow those beneficials to proliferate. I think most fields I've been in recently, there's ladybirds almost everywhere I put my foot. I think for aphids, that will definitely help. But again, if we reach those thresholds, that does show that the beneficials aren't active enough to keep the populations in check. But where I've been out inspecting crops, we're seeing a lot of winged aphids, but very few wingless ones. So hopefully they are being eaten up by the ladybirds and the lacewing larvae and whatever else is out there. One thing though that we do of course need to consider, and anyone who's been keeping up to date with our BBRO communications of the last week or so, is beet moth. So we do have an EA granted for the use of coragen again this year. And the good news about that is it's a month or so earlier than back in 2025. And really, if you are seeing early stages of beet moth damage, I would stress that you go out and consider using coragen. We know it's quite a costly option, but we've seen some positive results from trials in previous years, and we continue to build up that baseline of level of knowledge. But beet moth can be hugely devastating to crops. How bad it will be this year will play out over the next 3 or 4 weeks. If the crop does suddenly run out of water and becomes drought stressed again, we will see the moth damage getting worse and worse. And by doing that, the result can be significant yield loss. Not only that, you lose that heart leaf, that dominance of those heart leaves, and it won't put on yield later in the season. So if you are late lifting, again, it's important to keep an eye on beet moth now, because controlling it once damage is rife is too late.
But there is no threshold, is there?
No, we don't have an established threshold yet, but our working hypothesis is that the sooner you treat, when you do see some beet moth damage, so that's that characteristic blackening of a heart leaf, that indicates really that they have taken hold in your crop. So, and hopefully over the next year or two, with the ongoing research we are doing, we will gain more of an idea on how effective some of these new chemicals are, and clearly the economic threshold for using them. But after so much damage we saw last year, those stressed crops, really the more we can do to protect them now earlier is sure to pay dividends later on. Other options are out there. People have mentioned using pyrethroids. I'm not particularly keen on that, and our advice really is to avoid using them because they will wipe out those beneficial insects. And excitingly, in my email inbox just the other day, I had some photos from the entomology team up at Ferrer, who are doing the life cycle analysis work for us, and they've finally found the eggs. And they are on the outside of the petioles and the leaf stalks and on the top of the crown. So that's really exciting and very good news, because that's probably where a beneficial insect would be able to come and munch them up. So the next thing is really, does that happen? And what potential control does a beneficial give
Now
us.
you say really exciting, and it is fantastic news, but no grower is going to be able to see that by the naked eye, are they?
No. So we are relying on our beneficials there to do the hard work for us, using their various insect senses and find those eggs. They are absolutely tiny, sort of the size of a pinprick, and it's no wonder we haven't been able to find them ourselves. So yeah, we're not expecting there to be an egg threshold or anything like that. It will likely be based on risk factors. If you go onto the website now, you'll be able to see some of the moth monitoring work. So the automated moth traps we have out and about, and those catch data sort of give us an idea of how many generations we're going to see as well. The good news is sort of since we've had this heavy rain, we've seen very few moths on the wing. But again, we're sat outside now, it's 20 odd degrees, it's sunny, a nice light breeze. I'm sure if I was a beet moth, I'd be thinking about migrating now as well. So keep an eye on the website. We'll keep that updated on a weekly basis. You can log in and see how many moths we've caught in the previous week. And from there, hopefully that really helps with some decision making.
And can I just pick up one point there? Because you did say about the heavy rainfall helping. So what about irrigation and adding extra water to the use of coragen, adding an oil? Is there anything there that could help?
So irrigation is sort of a factor that is used in other countries for beet moth management. From some of the anecdotal things we've seen in our drought trials in previous years, it's not the physical action of the irrigation, it's the fact that the plant is nice and turgid that prevents the moth colonisation. So irrigation can be used. Of course, there's an expense to that, and that's likely to be twice or triple the cost of using, say, coragen. If you have irrigation, and that will give you some more yield return as well, and we go into a drought, by all means, we suggest that worth thinking about. Adjuvants and water rates are worth considering as well. You'll see on the coragen label it requires a high water rate anyway, so anywhere between 300 to 800 litres per hectare. Now clearly that is a lot of water and means you can't go very far on a sprayer fill up. So anything we can do to help with the penetration of the product into the canopy will be of benefit, but we're not sure yet which adjuvants might be best. So it's something, again, we're looking at. We're going to be doing some work in that area over the coming year. But for now, really contact either the adjuvant manufacturer or your chemical suppliers and just have a word with them. But anything that's going to help that penetration of the product, I'm sure will be a massive bonus.
And of course, Crop Watch, there's lots of information on there. We now actually have a beet moth map, don't we?
We've got all our weather stations alive at the moment and reporting all the weather data, and that will be really important as we go forward because, of course, in a few weeks' time, we'll be thinking about foliar disease risk, and that's when the leaf wetness sensors and the Spornado mapping comes into play. But I think we probably should talk about that in a few weeks' time, Ches. And for now, let's hope everyone stays on top of all these pests in their crops.
Yeah, no, we'll certainly pick that up at a later date. And just a reminder, please do look at the Crop Watch and watch out for the advisory bulletin where we'll give you the very latest information as and when we know it. So thank you very much, Hans.
Oh, you're welcome.
Whilst Alistair leads on the crop protection programme, when it comes to inoculation week, it's all hands on deck and we all have a role to play at BBRO.
Today I've been out in the field with the BBRO team. We've been on really it's a team building event, but in disguise. And I've been very fortunate to be able to grab Stephen Swainson before he disappears. Now, Stephen joined us a year ago, virtually today. So, Stephen, welcome along to BeetCast.
Thank you very much, Jess. And it is pretty much a year ago. This was my second day inoculation last year. So this is a mark of having done a full year. And as you say, it's a team building exercise, but it is well disguised. But the morale of everybody doing it was really good. And today we have finalised and finished Goliath. And this year we've done it as 100% of our own team. So nobody else has been involved this year. And it's gone really, really well.
Yeah, and for those of you that have not heard of this before, we actually inoculate by hand. So this is our virus trial. And it's not really back-breaking because we get done fairly quickly, don't we?
It's not too bad, is it? I mean, we've used 3 viruses. We did 2 on Wednesday and 1 today. And it's taken us all of 2.5 hours in total. while we've been out here in the field doing it. So in terms of back-breaking work, it's definitely not that, because it's not a long time in the field. It's a good opportunity to talk to everybody and be together as a team and get all these viruses set out for the trials.
Now, I noticed that you're hobbling a little bit though, and that's nothing to do with the fact that we're actually in field doing this. So I understand you're on a special regime at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm trying to get a little bit healthier in my life. So yes, I'm hobbling. My left knee hurts, but that's self-inflicted. It's got nothing to do with having to do some real work for a little bit. It's got to do with the fact that I foolishly decided to cycle from Land's End to John O'Groats in September. So I'm trying to change my shape from round to a little bit more sleek and be a bit fitter. So yes, that's what I'm spending my free time doing at the moment, with varying degrees of success.
And hopefully today might have just helped you a little bit.
It'll definitely not have hurt, no.
So Steve, you've been with us a whole year now, so there's been quite a few changes within the industry. How have you found your role and has it met your expectations?
Well, yes, it has. I mean, obviously it's a big change from me having come from the produce industry to be involved in a research organisation. So one of the things that I used to do in my old job was very much commercially driven. So it's been fascinating to spend more time with the team and to be a pivotal role between all of the parties and stakeholders within the sugar industry and doing this research that will hopefully make farming more sustainable and profitable in the future.
You must have been surprised by the actual number of research projects that for such a small crop we are actually undertaking.
Well, we do an awful lot of work, it seems, and we've got regular project updates and what we're doing. I think BeetTech was a fantastic opportunity for me to see the whole team in action and meet a lot of growers. And we do a lot of work, but what's sometimes pretty frustrating for the people that we do it for is that it takes time to get the research to be where we can actually talk about something meaningful. So one of the topics, of course, a key topic which we signed up to for this year and the work's already underway is beet moth. And of course, we will update on every finding that we have as we work through this season. Anything we learn and that we can share, we will do. But for lots of projects, the data is important and we need data sets to be able to do that. So 3 years worth of data is what we work with on the majority of things. And that's what I think some people will find frustrating. But science means that it has to be data driven. It means that it has to be based on facts, and otherwise we're just, it becomes people's opinions. I would say that lots of people that would listen to this, be patient with us. There's lots of work that we are doing that will become actual things that we can do on farm and bring benefit to all.
And most of the trials we do are sort of on a commercial scale. So it's very much like a farmer on their own fields. You know, 1 year is never the same as the next. So we face exactly the same challenges.
Oh, and I think, stood here looking at Goliath at the moment, looking across the field and thinking, wow, that's done for another year. It is a large scale trial. It is important for what we do and what comes out of it. And one of the things in terms of talking about how we change and how we adapt and how we have to work in the same circumstances as everybody else. We're here at Elvedon this year for the simple fact we need to irrigate this trial because obviously the weather last year meant that Goliath suffered from drought. And this year we're trying to make sure that it'll be more successful. And this year we'll be able to irrigate it. So yeah, it's difficult. We have that option because we're a trials business and we can move things around. You can't do that from a farm perspective quite so easily. But we made the decisions to be able to make sure this trial was safe and secure for this year to get as much data out of it as possible.
Yeah, and that's great. And obviously you're looking to expand the BBRO team even further. So I understand there may be some job opportunities.
There are 2 job opportunities at the moment on our website. One is for the field team and the other is a crop pathologist. So we're looking for people that would be interested in those roles, who would be interested in being involved in the sugar beet industry and helping to drive the research forward as part of the team. So those jobs are both on our website and on Indeed, I believe. Anyone interested, please apply.
Yeah. And please don't be put off by the thought of inoculating in field. It is only once a year and anyone joining us will have a good 12 months to get used to it. So thank you very much for your time, Stephen.
That's all right. Thank you, Jess.
That's all for this month. We wish you lots of sunshine and some great gentle rain. So until next time, thank you for listening.